Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Mardek, and today we are going to head on through the Sun Temple even further, past the Griffin, of course. Did pick up some pretty sweet items from it, no less. As we make our way through, again, I believe we'll find ourselves going to a different area of the same floor. We were in this half of it earlier, came in through here, saw this gate that we opened up and looped around through this door. Now we made it back through this door, which seems as though we'll wind around here and probably toward these other areas where there are additional switches for us to flip. So, let's see what else we can run into here. And we see another temperance. We saw one of these previously, and remember I was saying that its element depends on which one of these heads you see at the top. So I think the first one that we fought was Earth, because it had the green head on top. This one, obviously, is Water Elemental, because it has that blue head up top. So that means that it is very resistant to water, very weak to earth, and a little bit weak to air. Which would mean that it might be a reasonable idea to attack it with Charla. So we do have now this agility boost ability that we picked up with that item that we got from the Griffin. I think on this occasion, though, we're going to go full out with the damages. And it does have some resistance to fire, which is a little bit unfortunate. Now, I know previously we were talking about trying to master Soul Strike on both Charla and Donovan. I don't remember if we completed that or not, but just in case we didn't, we'll go with the physical attack there on Donovan. And the Temperance uses regen. We haven't seen enemies use it very often. Obviously, Mardek got the item recently that allowed him to start to use that ability. But, I think it might be best in that case to, again, continue to go the pure damage route. Because otherwise, this guy is going to make this a very long fight, which, you could make the case, might actually be reason to make a point of using physical attacks and getting that Soul Strike mastered up. If anyone has mastered it, I think it's Donovan. Charla is definitely not there yet. Let's just double check before we carry on. Okay, Donovan is done with it. And then Charla is about halfway there. So let's double check. That might also mean that Donovan could possibly use the Iron Spear now. He might have mastered all of his abilities on the Ember Spear. That he has. Okay, so let's give that a shot then. Because remember, he does have 28 attack versus the 22 on his starting spear. So that seems like a reasonable reason in and of itself. It does also give the Remove Numbness active skill, which we saw how difficult that has been in the past to get rid of that status. To have it, and on a skill that only takes 5 uses to master, sounds good. What? Reptoid A.
Are you sure we're not going too far up, sir? Should we be going down? That is where we were told the intruder went.
Reptoid B.
Yes, sir. That is where we were told it went, but everyone is going to be looking down there. We will be the only ones looking up here, and if we find that it is actually here, that it has retreated to, then think of the honor that we would have all to ourselves. That does not make much sense, no, sir. Everyone else is going down because so many signs point to that being where it went and where it remains. Yes, but, sir, there is less danger this way then. I don't know about you, but I don't think we would be any match for this intruder were we to encounter it. And I do not want to die. I understand what you mean. It was clearly powerful enough to assumedly summon all these dark monsters. But let us just wander around at least. So then it seems that we are doing something.
What? Is it? Well, gasp! Lizards! Who are also men? Are they monsters? Wait, Mardek. Hold a minute. Maybe we should... Gah!
Blast! My ally might have fled, but I am a creature of honor. I shall vanquish you, dark intruders, for the sake of my people. On guard.
Alright, and we are fighting a Reptoid Warrior. Let's take a look at what the deal is here. He is a Reptoid. I suppose that part maybe shouldn't be coming as much of a surprise. Very strong, high attack as well, little bit of physical defense, and a little bit of resistance to earth, a little bit of weakness to air. Overall, doesn't seem like this guy's going to be too hard to take out, especially considering that Charlotte, of course, can deal some air damage herself. Let's continue to work on the physical attacks, though. Try to master that Soul Strike, or at least get closer to it. And we could opt to use Remove Numbness if we just want to master that skill. And you know, I think this might actually be a reasonable time to do that, because although he can hit pretty hard, there is only one of these Reptoid Warriors, and so one would assume that this might be an opportunity for us to work on some of those skills that would normally require that we take a little bit of time in battle, and against what seems to hopefully be a relatively weak enemy, that might be a good time to make it happen. Oh, for a second I thought I was on Remove Numbness. I was like, why can I only remove Numbness on our enemy? I mean, we could be really nice and specifically remove Numbness on him. We come in peace, kind of, sort of, but not really exactly. So we'll apply the regens with Mardek then. We'll use the physical attacks on Charla, and then we'll use Remove Numbness on Donovan. Those are all the things that we're working on. And Donovan did take a hit that first time there. However, with that regen, over time he will get back some of that life, and there you have it. That was the difference between Donovan going down on that hit and just barely hanging on by a little thread. If he did not have that regen active there, he would not have healed enough HP, he would have died. So, on that occasion, it did work out, but, you know, maybe we make a point of getting him back up to full here. And one other thing that I don't think I've mentioned previously, but here, for example, when Donovan is using Remove Numbness, he does get experience from this, and the amount of experience that he gets is based on the level of the person that he is applying it to. So, for example, if he were to apply it to himself, he would be getting experience based on himself being a level 12 character, whereas, same thing for Charla, would be slightly better, actually, for the Reptoid Warrior. However, the most experience would come from using it on Mardek, so if we're just doing it for the sake of doing it and getting the skill mastered, then, technically speaking, the way of being most experience efficient would be to use it on Mardek. Not going to be a huge difference here, but I think we saw that it just gave a little bit over 100 experience when he used it on the Reptoid Warrior, or maybe it was himself, whereas we got about 150 when we used it on Mardek, so it has a small difference. And we don't necessarily need to reapply regen, but it's mostly, again, just for further mastering that skill. Charlotte does have other skills as well that she needs to master, so we could opt to do something other than just the physical attacks. There is Donovan mastering the Remove Numbness, so that's good. Mardek's getting close to mastering regen, but he's not there yet. That's 15 out of 20 there. Just to double check here. Healing Wind, Charlotte's only about halfway there. And Agility Boost, 0 out of 10. But those are things that are not tied to her weapon. I forget where Healing Wind is coming from. That might be an accessory. I think they're both coming from miscellaneous items. So that would suggest that for that reason, we, Reptoid Warrior opts to heal himself. That would suggest that maybe that's not as urgent that Charla learned those things immediately. Whereas for Donovan, previously we wanted to make sure that he had the chance to swap over to the new spear as quickly as possible. And you saw how much of a difference it made. And Charla, even though she has an attack that deals air damage, and the Reptoid Warrior is weak to air, Donovan still dealt significantly more damage with his attack. That is largely because of the base damage that is much higher on, whoa, Donovan's spear. Hello. Okay, Reptoid Warrior says, stop playing around here, Lids. I mean business. Okay then, I apologize. Donovan did master the ability we were trying to master. Mardek still needs a little while longer. Charla well, you can probably finish things off here, and we'll bring Donovan back after this fight to avoid having to use a Phoenix Down. So we get a better potion after he just used one, and we get a Scimitar, which was the weapon that he was using. We'll have to take a closer look at that, see if it's any good. And Donovan, as we saw, massive remove numbness, and also the physical defensive reaction for minus 20% damage, which is a little ironic, given how he obviously did die to a physical attack there. And, well, the Reptoid is down. So what we see here is that because Donovan fell in that previous battle, he's down to 1 HP now. So what we can do is we can heal him here, and that means that we have saved ourselves a Phoenix Down at the cost of some MP for Mardek, but that's fine. Let's take another look at the map here. We're going to wind around a little bit, it seems. Ooh, and this one is unavoidable, this battle. Topaz and Sekal, we've seen these guys before. So it would be nice at some point to further work on these abilities, but at the moment, let's try to use more physical attacks. In the past against these guys, we were using Sharla's Lightning Bolt so that we could ideally take out 2 Sekals in one turn. Not sure if she's going to have enough damage on the physical attack, because I think it is a little bit weaker for Sharla than it is for her magical attack. But, as I said, we are trying to make a point of mastering that ability. And here on Donovan, do we have an offensive reaction on this sphere? I think it was just the remove numbness that he picked up. So that technically means that it doesn't matter if he uses Flame or physical attack, and Flame does hit everyone, or at least can, and that Topaz is weak to fire. So this is probably the way to go. Takes out the Topaz, gets rid of the Sekal that Sharla started to damage as well. So that's not bad. Mardek, you do actually have reason to give Sharla regen here. And then Sharla, you can probably finish this guy off with a physical attack. Oh, but you gotta hit. You gotta hit, though. Yeah, so no active skills here that Donovan still needs to master. There's another Topaz, another better potion. So, yeah, I was going to say, Sharla should be getting pretty darn close to mastering Soul Strike. So there it is. We don't necessarily need to make a point of using the physical attacks on her anymore. And Mardek finally masters Resist Earth, which, as a reminder, is coming from the Geo Jacket that we picked up back in Chapter 2. And that is incredibly powerful. So it would be fantastic if we could swap that off onto someone else. How are Sharla and Donovan doing on their defensive reactions on their chest plates? Not great. Sharla's halfway there, Donovan less than halfway there. I mean, the Geo Jacket is just objectively better. So it might be worth making a point of throwing on the Geo Jacket on somebody. Just for the sake of getting that started, because it does take a while. It is 50 battles. So say if we were to do this for Donovan, actually not sure if it makes more sense to put it on Donovan or Sharla. It does give the tiniest bit of HP, and Donovan does have a little bit more starting HP than Sharla does, so I feel like it might be better to put it on Sharla to make up for that a little bit. And then that means that Mardek is without a chestplate at the moment. Has he yet worked on the Resist Water on the Trilobite armor? He is not. So that seems like a great fit for him as well. So in this case, the benefit of having mastered Resist Earth is we can now, whenever we want, put on 50% Earth resistance on Mardek. Doesn't matter what chestplate he's wearing, so if ever we anticipate that we're going to be fighting an enemy that deals Earth damage, that is going to be extremely helpful. So, we'll throw on Resist Water and try to master that as well, so that we have a little more versatility in that way, and if we do ultimately get to the point where Mardek racks up enough RP, we could even double up and have both Resist Water and Resist Earth equipped simultaneously, but we're ways away from that. Let's double check, though. Now that means that Sharla... Oh, does she even have enough RP to begin with to make that happen? She would be able to use Resist Earth, however, it would mean that we would have to unallocate +1 agility and +2 agility. She is currently working on +2 agility, with the other miscellaneous item that she's equipping that has an active skill that we would like for her to learn as well, the agility boost. So come to think of it, I think that's probably reason enough to swap these back around. Charla is a little preoccupied with +2 agility, which is nowhere near as good as Resist Earth, don't get me wrong. However, I think that we'll find that Donovan, yeah, is nowhere near as busy, passive ability-wise, so kind of just makes sense to put it on Donovan for now so that he can be using up most of his RP, mastering some skills, while Charla can still work on +2 agility as well. Okay. Minor signs here that this could be a battle. It is. Okay. Blood lizards on this occasion. That seems to be the general theme whenever we open these chests, other than the griffin, of course. So they are weak to water, and they are resistant to fire, which means that Donovan's going to have a bit of a tough time. So I think, now that we've established that we definitely do not need to continue to use the physical attacks on Charla anymore, it's going to be primarily that she uses the, magic abilities from here on out. That, oh man, Charla, just barely she hangs on there. So I know we want to be applying the regen status to as many people as possible with Mardek, because we're very close to mastering that. On this occasion, I think we will make an exception. We're going to use a heal. Otherwise, Charla is kind of toast. Fortunately, Mardek is able to more than fully heal her in one turn, so that is fantastic. So, what I'm wondering, though, is the Lightning Bolt didn't do that much damage to these guys. I think we could do it again, but I actually wonder, might we want to make a point of using Agility Boost on, say, Mardek? Allow him to go more quickly, because he's going to be the primary source of damage here, it would seem. I'm pretty sure he can one-shot these guys with an attack. Let's try that. Oh, I absolutely messed up the reaction there. +7 agility does mean that Mardek goes next, which should mean that we can take out the one with the most HP here. That we can. So now they become less threatening, because they do hit pretty hard. And even if they target Donovan here, Donovan is still in a bit of trouble. Donovan is not going to be doing much in the way of damage. I'm not sure it makes much of a difference if we use a physical attack or a magic attack. Oh, actually, you know what we should technically be doing to maximize Donovan's damage? Use a physical attack, and then don't hit with Soul Strike. Because previously, on Donovan's starting spear, it was always fire elemental attacks. So it didn't matter if we hit the reaction or not, it was always going to be fire. Now, however, that we've swapped off of that spear and onto the more generic iron spear that has just plain physical elemental attacks, the only way it would turn into a fire attack would be if we hit that Soul Strike reaction. So the best damage, I think, would actually be for Donovan to use physical attack, miss the reaction, so then it's a normal physical elemental attack with the higher base damage weapon. Yeah, I think that is probably the way to go. However, let's actually use Healing Wind on Donovan with Charla. Make Charla our healer. She cannot heal quite as much as Mardek. Although she is higher spirit, she's a lower level. Those are the two primary factors that affect how much you heal. So, oh, and Mardek is completely out of MP as well. So, all the more reason to use him as an attacker. And I suppose it's okay if we target Mardek here. But let's test out this theory. I forget as to how much damage Donovan was doing previously, but it was definitely still in the double digits. Let's see if this breaks 100 here. It does. So yeah, I think that was definitely, I think several times more damage than what he was doing when we were hitting the reaction. Because remember, it's getting 70% reduced when it's fire elemental. So that's why that made sense. And we could use Healing Wind again on Donovan here, or Mardek for that matter. Not as concerned about Mardek going down. But Charla does need to master that ability still, so it seems like that probably does make some sense. And then we take out the final enemy. So this is a chess battle, so remember that means that we basically are guaranteed to get a specific item. We just have to go through the fight before we get it. So it's bronze armor on this occasion, and there's Charla's defensive reaction. So that's not bad. Physical defensive reaction, not the one that comes from her chest plate. That's a magic one. Still ways to go before we're done with that. But the bronze armor we just picked up, oh, actually gives a new ability for Mardek, Morality Block. It's a full suit of armor made of bronze. 6 defense is actually quite high. It is higher than the Trilobite armor we just put on. Now, the Trilobite armor does, like we were saying earlier, give amazing water resistance and that resist water ability, which is definitely something we want to make sure that Mardek gets at some point. But what I'm thinking is, maybe it makes sense to throw on the bronze armor and try to master morality block as quickly as possible. And then we swap back over to the trilobite armor. I think that's the way to go, because we want to get this new active skill as soon as we can, and that should be much quicker to learn than the 50 battles it will take to master resist water. So let's go that route. However, Mardek is completely MP-less at the moment, so does that mean we ought to use an item of some sort to restore that MP, or might we be about to find another healing crystal that allows us to get that MP back automatically? I don't see any immediately. Now, that doesn't mean there isn't one in that grayed out area, but I think for that reason, let's play it a little bit safe here. Mana Berry would give us 50. Maybe we go that route, because I think anything else would probably over MP restore Mardek. And like I said, we're not necessarily sure just how urgent this may or may not be. We might be about to find a way to restore that MP. So we'll flip this switch, the dark blue one. Again, I don't think we've actually seen any of the doors that we're unlocking yet. We've always run into the switch before we run into that barrier. Okay, now we have more Lupusars, and remember they are Earth, which means they are weak to lightning, which means that Charla probably goes back to her role as a bit more of an offensive character. Do we try to take out one, both? Let's try both. Yeah, no problem, actually. Okay, no problem. And then, seems like we'll head back down here. And I think there were more switches in this direction, and what did I say? That was the risk, of course. We could potentially just run straight into another one of the healing crystals, in which case, using one of those items was, you know, not really necessary. However, it was a pretty common one. Didn't use any super powerful MP restoring items there deliberately in case that was going to be the case, so not the end of the world. And the Seckles, I think they're both very weak to air, and somewhat weak to fire. So again, this could be an instance of wanting to have Charlotte use some offensive skills here. The Lightning Bolt. Not quite enough to take these guys down, but I would assume Donovan can make it happen with the Flame. Definitely. And Mardek, we want to make sure that he does at least have enough time to use some of those morality blocks, because like I was saying earlier, he does need to take his turn to work on those things, whereas if it's just a normal battle in which he does not do anything, he would still get the one battle mastery of resist water, so if he's not taking his turn, then that would actually mean that it is more efficient to put on the resist water now. Now we have another temperance here, and this time around, again, it is a different element. It's the yellow head on top, which means it is air elemental. It's very weak to fire, very strong to air, and surprisingly strong against earth as well. So, let's see. That means Charla, not going to be too helpful with your air attacks here. So we could either Healing Wind or we could Agility Boost on Mardek. Seems like a good opportunity to do that. And then, ooh, ideally, have Mardek throw in the Morality block. However, the Temperance is still faster than him. It has 20 Agility. I believe its attributes will change based on which head is on top. It had its air element up top, which Agility is kind of the attribute that is most affiliated with air. Spirit being water, Vitality being earth, and Strength being fire. So, let's use... We've not yet mastered Regen, but I think we do want to prioritize Morality block, like I was saying, because that is something that we do want to make sure that we swap over to the Trilobite armor as soon as possible. So it gives the targets the Null Light and Null Dark status effects, protecting them from a single light and a single dark attack. So let's throw that on someone, get a better sense as to what that's all about. So you'll see that Donovan now has two little circles floating above his head, a white one and a blackish one. And like the skill said, that basically means that the next time someone tries to do a light attack against Donovan, it will deal no damage, it won't do anything, and that will remove the white circle circling around his head. And then if anyone tries to hit him with a dark attack, then it will completely mitigate the damage from that as well, and that will remove the dark circle that's floating around his head. That's also the appearance of it over there on his character. So, not really going to be relevant for this fight, because I think this guy's mostly going to be doing air attacks against us, since it's an air elemental enemy. It does, however, mean that it is weak to fire, so Donovan should be a good source of damage here. could heal a little bit on Charla herself, or we could further agility boost Mardek in hopes of getting him to go before this guy. Still, Mardek does not have enough agility. He's at 18. Temperance is at 20. So Mardek, you start off so slow, you're not making this easy on us. But we can apply more morality blocks if we'd like. And I think we would. And again, we'll continue to use Flame on Donovan. He'll be our primary source of damage, at least at the beginning here. Might eventually have Mardek do something, deal some damage, but for the time being, we'll prioritize Morality block. Now, Mardek finally has enough agility to go before the Temperance. We'll throw on another Morality block here. There's a Lightning Bolt against Mardek. Shouldn't be too much of a concern. Donovan, keep the damage up. Charla, you could agility boost Donovan this time, I suppose? He did start off faster than Mardek, but with just 2 agility, he's still not faster than the Temperance, nor has he surpassed Mardek. Started off at 13, I think Mardek started off at 9. So, yeah, still can't top the 20 on the Temperance, at least not in Donovan's case. So we could, I think we can double up on Morality block here, even on characters that already have it. Let's double check. It does let us. Ooh, okay. It's actually a relatively weak attack there from the Temperance. So if we wanted to, we could deliberately take this opportunity to pass some turns, use some of those skills that don't deal damage, and try to master them. So things like agility boost here, to do that. Plus 8 agility should make Donovan go before the Temperance now, and that is the case. So Mardek, you could continue to use Morality block here. And that would be great if we could, say, make sure that we master it in this fight, and then basically immediately swap on over back to the Trilobite armor. That would be pretty awesome. I mean, we could use Remove Numbness, just for the sake of giving Donovan something to do that actually gives him some experience, other than passing his turn, which does not. We'll continue the agility boost, and because both Donovan and Mardek are faster than the Temperance now, it doesn't really matter which one we boost further. It's not going to make much of a difference here. So I would say the only difference there is between picking between the two of them, or the Temperance for that matter, we could agility boost the Temperance, I suppose. But remember, Mardek will give the most experience because he's the highest level character. And similarly, we're using Morality block, we want to use it on Mardek because he's the highest level character, so give the most experience there. And same thing with Remove Numbness. Mardek will just get a little bit of everything this time, including the attacks. And Charla's close. I think Mardek might be a little bit behind. No, basically right behind there, in terms of how close he is to mastering those abilities. Donovan, sure, you have already mastered Remove Numbness, but at least we got something for you to do. And now we could theoretically justify using a heal on Donovan instead of an agility boost, because he has taken a little bit of damage here. But I think it's not that necessary. I don't think this guy's going to be able to deal enough damage to us to take out Donovan in one hit. We should be fine. Even with a Lightning Bolt, yes. So Morality block is just 2 away here. So Mardek's about to finish. Charla should be about to finish right here. Okay, so there's 1 skill mastered. Mardek will master on the next turn, and then I think we will wrap up this fight from there. And sorry, Temperance, but that's not really going to make a difference at this stage. Except, oh, Mardek, you ran out of NP at just the wrong time. It is somewhat NP heavy. It takes 8 per use on Morality block. So, I mean, we do know that there's a save crystal directly behind us, so, again, probably best not to opt to use any MP restoring items there. We'll just take out the Temperance, and we'll stop playing our little games with it. There's the Agility Boost Mastery. And that is coming from the Boots of Celerity, which was the source of the +2, or still is, the source of the +2 agility skill, which was the thing that we were saying we might want to still keep on Charla so that she could continue to work on that and master it before inheriting the Geo Jacket. Now that she's mastered Agility Boost, you could make a case that that's no longer quite as much of a priority, but I think we still keep things as is. And let's go over and at least unlock these other areas here, I think. Probably makes some sense. Flip these switches. And maybe there'll be more people. Oh, more people. And master up some more of our abilities here. However, bear in mind, Mardek, of course, still does have 0 MP because we did not go straight back to the healing crystal. Charlotte does still have some MP, so she could continue to use some of her skills that she needs to master, and that would at this stage mean healing wind, which is convenient because there are also some people who need to be healed. Remember though, this Renovant can hit pretty hard. So Mardek can attack him, but he will have some light resistance, a fair bit of it at that. So this might not be enough to take him out, even with the crit, mind you. Does go Berserk. That's actually probably the best thing it could have done there, because although that will make it stronger, it also means that it's not dealing any damage this turn. That gives Darla another opportunity to heal a bit. And I think Donovan will actually deal more damage with physical attack here. Yes, he will. Because remember, this spear is stronger than his old one. And another Sun X. Yeah, it seems like that's a 100% drop now. Enemies? No. Just a Topaz, and we've seen plenty of these, so nothing too crazy there. And then I think there's one more area for us to unlock here. One more switch to flip. In this section, at least, and then there's one over on the right, actually, as well. Then, I believe we've unlocked everything in this area. This one seems awfully dramatic, though. Oh? No? Apparently not. This is actually the way out. To the next area, wherever that may be. So let's save here, I think, and this might be a good place for us to wrap up. And it would appear, that there's someone going to interrupt us at the last second. Another Revenant. He says, I'm not done with you yet. We could heal on Mardek, which provides limited use because, well, Mardek was almost at full HP, but Charlotte is still looking to master that skill, so why not? Oh, that is the downside of opting to use physical attacks, is there is that chance to miss. This guy probably will attack this turn, not going rage. I missed the defensive reaction there. That's no good. And so, I guess it gives us a reason to heal with Charla. For sure. Donovan. Attempt number 2. A little better this time. Mardek, I don't think you're going to be able to finish him off here. Might be enough to get this guy mad at us. It is not. However, he misses. Rather fortunate in that way. Everyone is on full HP. We could, I believe, still apply the Healing Wind, just for the purpose of getting closer to mastering that ability. We are quite close now, so I think that is worthwhile. And then, oh, I was skeptical. I was going to say I thought that Donovan was going to need a little bit more help to take that guy out, but he was able to do it. Alright, and what I was about to say was let's save here. And I think this is a good place for us to wrap up this time around, and I think that we might be getting close to making it through the end of this Sun Temple here. As for what exactly lies on the other side, we'll just have to wait and see.